Year of community college at home before I transferred to USC my sophomore year.
And when did you graduate from USC?
The same May that Sammy would have graduated of 2019.
May of 2019. And when we say USC, you mean?
University of South Carolina.
And what do you do now?
I'm a communications coordinator up in New Jersey.
You briefly mentioned USC. You didn't start there as a freshman.
No, I was at a community college my freshman year, and then I transferred in my sophomore year with my roommate Jacqueline. She was also transferring in, so we kind of came together.
Was Jacqueline also a sophomore at the time?
Yes, she was also a sophomore at the time.
Did you know anybody else at USC before you got here?
My older brother went here before me as well, so I knew him and some of his friends, but it was really the transition happened because Jacqueline was going as well.
And did Jacqueline know anybody at the University of South Carolina?
We had a few other people from our high school who have been here, so yeah, we knew those high school people.
Was she your roommate throughout your time at USC?
Yeah, we were roommates all 3 years. We lived in that same apartment in the hub.
Did Jacqueline introduce you to some other girls?
Yes, Jacqueline is kind of the reason that I met Sammy and Carly and Jordan and Jenny, so yes.
And for the record, what is Jacqueline's last name?
Josephson.
And who are some of the people that she introduced you to?
Sammy and Carly would be some of them. Jenny, also my other roommate. We've met kind of a bunch of people together. We came to school together.
You get closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we met a bunch of people together, Sammy and Carly and Jenny being some of them.
And did you and Sammy become friends after that?
Yes.
Did you ever live with Sammy?
I did, yes. My senior year, I lived with Sammy.
And what was Sammy like?
She was goofy and silly. She was super caring. She's passionate. She's easygoing. She was just kind of the ideal person.
Is it fair to say you and Sammy were pretty close?
Yes.
What sort of things did you enjoy doing as a group?
We would go to football games. We would go out and get food. We would go out to 5 Points. We kind of did everything together.
Did you guys go to 5 Points pretty often?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you were familiar with the area?
Absolutely.
I want to draw your attention to March of 2019. Would this have been your senior year of college?
Yes.
Is there anything special you had going on in March, anything you were looking forward to?
Yeah, I think we had spring break in that March, so we did that. Greg said that Sammy had just gotten into law school, so we were just kind of celebrating the end of our school year as final semester seniors.
Thursday, March 28th of 2019. Were you in Columbia that day?
I was, yes.
Was there anything specific about this Thursday that you remember?
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
You mentioned spring break. Was everybody back in town by then?
Yes.
Was Jenny in town by then?
Oh, sorry. No, Jenny was not in town. Jenny did not come with us on spring break. She was in the Netherlands.
What was she doing in the Netherlands?
She was visiting her boyfriend at the time.
What were your plans for that Thursday evening?
Just to go out. The Thursday is basically a Friday for us, so.
Why is that?
One takes Friday classes.
I'm sorry, if you could just maybe repeat for the court.
Oh, sorry. We just didn't take Friday classes.
Did you have any friends over that night?
Yeah, some of our friends came over, Edgar being one of them. I think Emil was there, Shannon, and Daniel.
And that would be where specifically?
At the hub, with the roommates that were home.
Did you go straight to 5 Points when you left the hub?
We did not. We went to our friend Edgar's house, who lives he is from the Saluda, I believe. He's friends with Carly and them.
Was his house near 5 Points?
Yes.
At some point, did you guys leave Edgar's?
Yes, we left Edgar's and walked right to Bird Dog.
Did everybody in the group who was at Edgar's go to Bird Dog?
Yes.
Did Jacqueline join you guys at Bird Dog?
Jacqueline walked in momentarily, but she did not stay long.
How did you guys get downtown?
I believe Edgar probably drove, and then we walked from his house.
Is Edgar's house pretty close to 5 Points?
Yes,
And where did you go when you got to 5 Points?
right to Bird Dog.
Just to clarify for the jury, what is Bird Dog?
Bird Dog is just a bar downtown. It's somewhere we went to very frequently, just an average bar, cheap drinks. Went there with our friends all the time.
And was Sammy with you when you guys got to Bird Dog?
She was.
Do you remember what she was wearing that night?
I do. She was wearing an orange, bright orange top, black jeans, I think platform sandals, and my white bralette.
I request indulgence, Your Honor. Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor. Handing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yep, that's Sammy.
And by Sammy, we mean,
Samantha Josephson.
and what is she wearing in that photograph?
An orange top, a white bralette, platform sandals, and black jeans.
And is this the outfit she was wearing that evening?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to enter what's been previously marked for ID purposes as State's Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
It is admitted without objection.
What were you doing inside the bar that night?
I think we were just listening to music, hanging out with our friends, talking.
Do you remember seeing Samantha inside Bird Dog?
I do.
What was she doing?
I'm sure I've seen her at multiple points in the night, but one of the last times I remember seeing her, she was over in the corner on the phone.
Was it common for you to split up when you got to a bar?
Yeah, we're all here. We all have a bunch of friends, so it was common that we would see someone else we know kind of wander and do what we were doing.
At some point, did you realize Samantha wasn't at Bird Dog anymore?
I did not.
When did you realize that Samantha wasn't with the group?
It really wasn't until Greg contacted us later in the night.
Would you say it's out of the ordinary for Greg to reach out if he couldn't get in touch with Samantha?
Nope.
What did you do after Greg reached out?
I opened my Find My Friends. We all tracked each other as well. So I noticed the same location that he had previously bought up, and we went to that location and checked it that night.
Was that the location, intersection between South Ott and Montgomery?
Correct.
Were you able to make contact with Sammy?
No.
What happened next?
After we went to that location, we kind of looked around. We noticed some cars. It looked like a sorority girl's house and kind of an abandoned house. We didn't really think too much of it. Maybe her phone was in an Uber or something, if it was stopped there. And then we went back to our friend Emil's house that we were at previously, and then we Ubered home.
At that location, did you see, and by that I mean South Ott and Montgomery, did you see any sign of Samantha?
No.
Did you see any of her belongings?
No.
Were you concerned at this point?
Not really. Like we said, I thought maybe her phone was left in an Uber or something along the lines of that.
And what did you do next?
After that, we left Emil's house and went back home and went to bed.
And was Samantha at the apartment when you got home?
She was not. No, her door was still open for her room.
Explain for the jury where Samantha's bedroom door was in relation to yours.
Yeah, our room was kind of a V, so the kitchen was over here, and mine and Sammy's rooms were right here. Carly's over here, and then the other two were back there, so I had to walk past her room to get into my own.
Did you notice anything when you walked past her room on your way to bed?
Her work shoes were still out. I noticed that, and I knew that she had work early the next day, so that kind of stood out.
And what happened after you walked past her room? What did you do then?
Just to sleep.
So Friday, March 29th would be the next day, but technically those hours overlap. What time did you wake up?
I think around 10:30.
Was Samantha at the apartment when you woke up?
She was not.
Was her door still open?
Yes.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary when you peeked in her room?
Nothing out of the ordinary, just I noticed that her shoes were still there, and I think her shift was starting soon after.
And where did Samantha work at the time?
Liberty Tap Room.
Did you reach out to anybody at Liberty Tap Room?
We did, yes. We contacted them and asked if she was there, and they said that she was not.
Was it unlike Samantha to miss work without calling in sick?
Absolutely.
Were you concerned at this point?
Yes.
What happened next?
Well, before that, I texted my roommates in a group chat, and I said something was kind of off, and we all came out into the living room and talked a little bit about the next steps, and from there we decided to get in the car and go back to that Montgomery Street house.
Back to the same location you were at the night before?
Correct.
Did you see any sign of Samantha?
No.
Did you look anywhere else for her?
While we were there, we also contacted jail. We called the hospital. We called just a bunch of locations. We thought that if she wasn't home, there was a potential she might be.
And did you find her?
We did not.
What happened after you left that location? South Ott and Montgomery. Where'd you go?
Yeah, we went back to the hub, and I think that's when we contacted the police. We kind of did our own little search in before that, because we thought that there was a 24-hour rule before you could file a missing persons report. So we were kind of just doing our own search in the meantime.
Did an officer come out and take the report?
Yeah, the officer informed us that that wasn't the case and came and spoke with all of us.
Did that officer come to the hub to speak with you guys?
Yep.
What happened after the officer left?
When the officer left, I think we just kept searching. I know we went back to that house at one point. We also broke into Sammy's laptop and looked through her emails, and that's where we found a Uber report that her ride had been canceled by the driver.
By the person involved in the story. If I showed you a photo of that canceled receipt, would you recognize it?
Yep.
I'm approaching the witness with what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2 for ID purposes.
Oh,
Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
The Uber report that we pulled up on her laptop.
Your Honor, at this time, the State moves to enter into evidence what's been previously marked for ID purposes as State's Exhibit 2.
Says the defense.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted without objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. After you saw the receipt, what happened next?
I think at that point Greg was there. We might have gone back to that house again. We visited a few times that day, and then we went downtown to do our own searching. As Greg said, we first went to Breakers and looked there. It's on the corner. There's a lot of cameras right around there. They didn't have any cameras for us to look at, so we went to Bird Dog where we were all last.
I'm going to back you up just a little bit.
Sure thing.
So first, did you mention, by location, do you mean South Out in Montgomery?
Yes.
Did you see any sign of Sammy there?
No.
And after that, where did you go next?
Then we went downtown, and we looked at Breakers and didn't get anything there, so we went to Bird Dog.
Were you able to look at anything at Bird Dog?
Yes, we had some mutual friends at Bird Dog, so we were able to go upstairs and look at their video footage. We kind of had an idea of when the last time we communicated with her was. We went to that point and we saw everything.
Did you see Samantha on that video?
Did.
Did you see the black Impala on that video?
Did.
Do you recognize that car at all?
No.
After you left Bird Dog, where did you go?
I'm not entirely sure what we did next. I think we probably went back to the hub again.
Were you contacted at some point by officers from the Columbia Police Department?
Yes.
Did you go there to meet with them?
Yep.
Did they question you?
Yes.
Do you remember if you were questioned by yourself or were you questioned in a group?
I was questioned by myself.
And at the point when you were speaking with the investigators, did you know whether Samantha was alive or dead?
I did not.
And to be clear, the last time you spoke to or saw Samantha was at Bird Dog?
Correct.
Did you ever hear from Samantha again?
I did not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Sergeant Spence.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. We'll call your next witness.
State calls Amanda Moskaitis.
Amanda Moskaitis, M-O-S-K-A-I-T-I-S.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Moskaitis, can you tell the jury where you currently work?
Yes, I'm a special agent with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division.
And what do you do for SLED?
I'm the supervisor over SkyX.
And how long have you worked there?
About 2 months.
Where did you work previously?
The Columbia Police Department.
How long did you work for Columbia Police Department?
About 4.5 years.
And what was your position at Columbia?
I was a master patrol officer on the community response team prior to leaving.
And what did you do as a master patrol officer?
I would assist with taking calls for service through dispatch, listen to community complaints and handle them as such, attend community events, perform traffic stops.
All right, so I'm going to take you back to March of 2019. Was that your position back then?
No, ma'am, I was just a patrol officer at the time.
And what did you do as a patrol officer?
Very similar, took calls for service and conducted traffic stops, conduct property checks.
And in March 29th of 2019, did you receive a call?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you become involved in this case?
I was dispatched to the call. It was probably about 1300 hours or 1 p.m. I believe.
And can you tell the jury where you went?
Yes, ma'am. So that day I was on patrol and I was dispatched to 1426 Main Street, which is located downtown.
And is that in Richland County?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the city of Columbia, County of Richland.
All right. And what did you do upon your arrival?
Upon arrival, I went upstairs into the apartment building and I made contact at the listed apartment, although at this time I cannot recall the specific apartment.
Do you remember who you spoke with?
I don't remember her name at this time.
Would seeing your report help refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? I hand you something and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes.
And what is that?
This is the incident report that I wrote.
And does having that report help you refresh your memory?
Yes.
So can you tell the jury where did you go?
Yes, so I would have responded to 1426 Main Street, apartment 901, and made contact with Ms. Berry.
Okay. And did you know anything about the case prior to your arrival?
I would have only been going off of what dispatch had provided me prior to making contact with Ms. Berry, but at this time I cannot recall specifically what was provided to us.
All right. And based on the information that Ms. Berry provided, what did you do?
I made contact with an employee at the Liberty Tap Room restaurant located within the Vista on Gervais Street to confirm whether or not Miss Samantha had arrived at work or had called in to say that she wasn't coming to work.
And has she called in?
No, she had not.
Has she arrived at work?
She had not.
So what did you do after that?
After that, I also informed my corporal at the time as to the information that I was provided and that I had made contact with a manager at Liberty Tap Room and informed my corporal as well that she had not showed up to work and she had not called in.
And did you speak with anyone else beside Ms. Berry?
Yeah, while I was in my patrol car, I had begun writing my report at the time and I made contact with her boyfriend, Mr. Gregory.
And without telling us exactly what he said, what information were you provided?
He was just able to provide further information from his point of view, from what he had experienced when he was attempting to remain in contact with Miss Samantha.
Did you get any information about the last known whereabouts of Ms. Josephson?
I did. He was able to provide information in regards to where he was able to last track her, and that came back within another part of the city, which we at the time considered South Region, which encompasses the 5 Points area and just outside the 5 Points area, such as Rosewood and Shandon.
Does it also encompass Montgomery Avenue and South Hot?
It does, yes.
And is that in Richland County?
It is.
And were any of them able to give you the last known whereabouts of Samantha physically, where they last saw her?
The last known location that I was provided was in 5 Points outside of Bird Dog.
And is that in Richland County?
Yes, it is.
Were you able to speak to her parents?
I did speak with her parents that day as well, only over the phone though at that time.
And at that time, did they know her location?
They did not.
So based on this information of no one knowing where she was, what happened?
Based off of the circumstances and the information I was provided, I informed my corporal of all the information that I had, informed him that I was completing a missing person report, and the information that he was given was then passed up through to investigations.
And was anything done in terms of letting people know that she was missing?
Yes, ma'am. While I was still on the call, I did ask Ms. Teagan if she had any pictures of Samantha that we would be able to provide to our investigators. It is standard when completing a missing person report to try and ask for pictures. It helps identify her within a BOLO, which is a be on the lookout, and all of that information was submitted to our investigator.
So, and you said a BOLO is a be on the lookout?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that normal procedure when something's or someone is missing?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 4 and ask if you recognize this.
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is the bolo that was issued for Miss Samantha Josephson.
And is that a fair and accurate copy of what was sent out back in March 29th of 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
This time, Your Honor, I ask to introduce State's Exhibit Number 4 into evidence. I would object, Your Honor.
Offered an objection. I haven't seen it. And what's the basis for the objection?
Hearsay.
And who generated this flyer again?
Who created this information?
It would have been the lead investigator, and I believe the investigator's name is on the bolo.
And is it kept in the normal course of your business?
Yes, it would have been emailed to our city-issued email address.
It's admitted over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. So is this the Be on the Lookout flyer that was given to the public?
Yes, ma'am, I believe so.
Was it also given to Columbia Police Department?
Yes.
May I report the bill? No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. The next witness.
State called Marcus Williams.
My name is Marcus Williams.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams.
How you doing?
Well, thank you. And I just need you to make sure you speak up so the entire jury can hear you.
Okay.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 49,
And where are you from?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Did you go to school here?
Yeah, I went to W.J. Keenan.
All right, and you have family here in town?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you married?
Yes, sir.
All right, what kind of work have you done through your career?
Well, I worked for the city of Columbia for the last 10 years until I got hurt, and that's how I became an Uber driver.
Okay. So after working for the city, you had some type of work pack injury, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you became an Uber driver. What does becoming an Uber driver entail? What did you have to do to become an Uber driver?
Well, you have to send your license, registration, and copy of your insurance, and a copy of your car,
What kind of car?
a Dodge Charger.
Okay, okay.
You send all that in, and it takes like, I think, 42 or 72 hours for them to approve you, do a background check and all that.
Okay. And so once you submit it, like you said, your license, your insurance, copy of your car, at that point you can be approved?
Yes, sir.
Were you approved?
Yes, sir.
All right. And explain to the jury, tell the jury again what kind of car you were driving at the
I
time?
was driving a 2011 Dodge Charger,
What color was it?
charcoal gray.
And so about how long had you been an Uber driver before the incident that we're talking here, so which is March of 2019?
I think a couple months, about 3 or 4 months, I think.
Was there kind of a process that you would go through as an Uber driver if you got a call?
Yeah, when you get a call, it'll come up with who you have to pick up and where the destination you have to go to.
Okay. So you pointed you were holding your hand out. So kind of explain that process. If a call comes through, where does the call come to?
Like if I'm riding, the phone will ring, it just get a little ring, and then you'll see it. It'll come to my phone, and then it'll hit it. It'll tell you what destination, where your client that you have to pick up.
All right. So if somebody wanted to order an Uber, I guess that's the way you say it. Somebody wants to order an Uber. They go into an app of some sort?
Yeah, they go to an Uber app, and once they go on the app, it shows them the car, the person, your ratings, and all that.
Okay. And when you say ratings, tell us what you mean by that.
Like the comments from other people saying like your car was clean, very good driver, certain stuff like that.
Okay. Did you have ratings?
Yes, sir.
What were your ratings?
All my ratings was good. If you look on my app, I had a 5-star. Car kept clean. I always get tips.
All right. And so somebody would order that Uber. The call would come through. You'd get a notice that the person was trying to reach a driver.
Yes, sir.
And so would their information come to you?
Yes, sir.
What information would you receive?
I would receive the name and the destination where I have to pick them up at.
Okay. And would your information go to that person?
Yes, sir.
What information about you would go to that person?
My picture, the color of the car, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. Now, if we were to focus a little bit more to March of 2019, March 29th, actually, 2019, do you remember getting a call, a particular call or a series of calls?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you remember about those calls.
I used to work the 5 Points area down there. I worked the 5 Points area with the college kids.
Okay.
And I was already on a call, and I got the call to go pick the young lady up.
Okay. And when you say the young lady, you're referring to Miss Josephson?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. The voice does it sometimes. So you received this call to pick up Miss Josephson. What did you do next?
Every time I receive a call, I always call the client to let them know I'm on the way or I'm outside or something like that.
Okay.
But when I received the call, I headed towards Hardin and Divine, I think. And I called her while I was on the way there, but she never answered the phone, so I circled around the block. I always give them like about 5 or 10 minutes because, you know, they be here and there. They don't really be at the spot where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
So I rode around for a minute. I called her again. Nobody answered the phone. And then once you get to your destination, after so many minutes, it'll come up as cancel your ride if your rider didn't show up.
Okay.
And so when I was riding, I waited. The cancel thing showed up. I think I circled like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
But I never got in contact with her, never saw her. So they said, cancel your ride. And I just hit cancel.
All right. Now, I want to and thank you for that. I want to go back through just a couple things you said. You said that sometimes the person is not where they're supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Like say they might tell you to pick them up at the destination might be Bird Dog, but they might be across the street at the little store they have right there on the corner.
Okay.
So that's why I always call because a lot of them don't ever be at the spot you're supposed to. So I just call them, let them know I'm in the area, let them know where I'm at, so they can meet me where it's.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so are they able to kind of pinpoint their location based on the Uber app?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in this instance, you received the call. You went to the 5 Points area. And as you got to that area, based on your normal procedure, you made the call to Ms. Josephson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you said there was not a response?
No, sir.
All right. And so you said you circled for a moment?
Yes, sir.
Still no response. And so this cancel feature happens. All right, what happened when that cancel feature happened here? Explain that. I want to make sure that.
After you get to your destination, the client has like, I think 5 or I don't know exactly how many minutes to get in the car. And once that time limit goes, the cancel thing will come up and says your ride ain't show up, cancel your ride.
All right. And so this ride was canceled?
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you do next?
I think I went on by my, I don't know if I got another call or I just went on by my business.
Okay. Did you ever pick up Samantha Josephson that night?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, did you ever lay eyes on her?
No, sir.
Did she ever approach your vehicle to try to get into your vehicle?
No, sir.
All right. Was there a point in time when you learned that there had been some type of happening with Samantha Josephson?
Yes, sir. I think, I don't know if it was the next day or the day after. My brother-in-law is a lieutenant at the city.
Okay, and let me say, you can't tell me what a person
Okay,
said to
okay,
you, but
okay.
you can tell me what you did as a result of conversations.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I got a phone call after I heard they said what happened to Samantha. They called me, the city police called me, asked me would I come down there. I volunteered to come down there.
Okay, okay, so you received a call from the City of Columbia Police?
Yes, sir.
They asked you to come down to the department. to tell you why. Well, what did you do as a result of them calling?
I went down there.
Okay.
They told me why,
Okay.
and I went down there.
And what did you do when you got there?
They investigated me, and then they asked me for would I swab, can he swab my mouth? And I told them, yeah, I volunteered to do it.
Okay. And the swabbing in your mouth, was that, to your knowledge, a DNA sample?
I guess, yes, sir.
Okay. And so you voluntarily did that?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Because I have nothing to hide. I was just doing the Uber job.
Okay. After you gave that swab and talked to the city of Columbia, what happened after that? What, if anything, happened after that?
No, they just let me go, told me they'll call me when they need me.
Okay. That's your court's indulgence. All right. Well, thank you for your time, sir. That's all the questions I have. Please answer any questions the defense may have.
Side of the defense.
Please support, Your Honor.
Yes.
Terry.
How you doing?
I'm good. Just briefly, you said that you went down to headquarters voluntarily,
Yes, ma'am. They called me. Yes, ma'am.
and you just said you did that because you didn't have anything to do with anything.
Yes, ma'am.
You sat down and talked to the investigators.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that they investigated you. You said that they took your DNA swab.
Yes, ma'am.
You gave it to them.
Yes, ma'am.
And they told you that they wanted to talk to you about this rideshare situation that has literally nothing to do with you.
Yes, ma'am.
It has nothing to do with Uber, right? As far as you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Begging the court's indulgence. Thank you, sir. I have nothing further.
Further questions?
No other questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Let me call your next witness.
State calls Andrew Yee.
My name is Andrew Yee. Last name is spelled Y-I.
Mr. Yee, good afternoon. How old are you?
I just turned 40.
And where are you from?
A little bit of an Army brat. But I've been living in Columbia, South Carolina since 2000. Lived in upstate New York before that. Lived in Kansas. Lived in Germany. Was born in Colorado. So kind of all over.
Do you currently reside in Columbia, South Carolina?
Yes.
Where do you work?
The Bird Dog. I'm the general manager there.
And what is Bird Dog?
It's a restaurant bar.
How long have you worked there?
Since 2013.
So you were employed by Bird Dog in March of 2019?
Yes.
And around that time, do you recall anyone contacting you regarding an investigation?
Yes.
Did that investigation involve Samantha Josephson?
Yes.
And what specifically were you asked to do?
For the video, and stuff, of the evening and stuff.
When you say video, what do you mean by that?
Our surveillance cameras that we have outside and inside. But
And where is that camera located?
the one they were particularly interested in was the one on the, I guess if you're facing the building, it would be on the left side, facing towards, down towards Green Street.
Does that video footage show from the front door?
Yeah, it's in the top, I guess, if you're facing the building, it'd be the top left of the building, and it faces out into the parking spots and the doorway.
And did you provide a copy of that footage to officers?
Yes.
Beg the court's indulgence, Your Honor. approaching the witness with what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3. Do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes.
And what is that?
This is a DVD copy of the video of that evening.
And have you had a chance to review the contents of that disc?
Yes.
Are there any identifying marks on that disc?
Yes, my signature is on here.
And do the contents of the disc fairly and accurately represent the footage from Bird Dog's security camera on March 29th of 2019?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, State moves to enter what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 3 into evidence.
Stays in defense. It's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All exhibits, the court requires that you provide the court copies of those exhibits. I cannot see through the back of that TV. With regard to all exhibits, counsel should provide the court copies so that I can follow the evidence.
Apologies, Your Honor. Your Honor, please.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, permission to publish to the jury?
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Yee, what are we looking at here?
This is the footage from the camera on the left side of the building that overlooks the doorway and the parking spots.
And is this the camera that we're referencing here with
Yes.
regards to the security footage?
Yes.
And what is the date of that timestamp up there?
It's 3/29/2019 at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or I can't see the exact time, but 2:06 or 2:08.
March 29th of
Yeah,
2019?
March 29, 2019. Yes.
Neither can I see through the solicitor.
I apologize, Your Honor. Mr. Yee, so as far as the footage goes, it goes on from here until some other time
Yeah.
that day?
Yeah, it continues, and until like you can see her on her phone and stuff. But-
Your Honor, no further questions for this witness at this time.
Cross-examination.
Sir, I have no questions for this witness.
All right, thank you. You may step down. Yes. Everyone, let's stand for a moment, everyone. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm told that those are the witnesses for today. We're going to resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning. 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please remember that you're not to discuss the case with anyone or allow anyone to discuss it with you. You're to avoid contact with anyone connected with this case, and you're not to be exposed to any news, media, or any other social media information if it appears on your evening news. You're to not watch it, etc. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a good evening. With regard to these exhibits that are being shown to witnesses and request for the court to make a ruling sight unseen of the exhibits, how are we going to remedy that situation? Mr. Solicitor.
For the future, Your Honor, before we show an exhibit to a witness, we will also show Your Honor, if you're just talking about the physical paper exhibits. As for video, we can do the same. We can give you a copy of the video that we just played.
Copies of every exhibit that you're going to use so that I can follow the evidence. You hand the witness a piece of paper and objection or no objection, and then I'm to rule. I don't want to stop the trial to review the document if you can just as easily provide me with the documents in advance that you intend to offer.
Yes, sir, we can do that.
That'll help us move a little smoother. Anything else before we break for the day?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning.